Hello everyone, welcome back to Case Studies with the BizDoc. This week, it's accelerators and incubators to accelerate or incubate your concept. You know, there doesn't need to be an accelerator or incubator in your town or even in your country to get assistance, but it helps. And for those of you that are nearby, that can be exactly the thing that you need to get mentorship, a little bit of funding, and hit some milestones to see if you can take your concept, turn it into a young company, and then ultimately a funded company and go where you want to go. So we're going to talk a little bit about, in this case study, about incubators and accelerators. And I know a little bit about this. I ran one that was called eCompanies Wireless Incubator, and it was in a partnership. I was working with a telecommunications company in the United States, and they're also entrepreneurs. We got together, and these successful entrepreneurs, including the founder of Earthlink and the telecommunication company I was working with, we got together, put it together, and created this incubator. I managed the interest and the funding from the telecom side, and they provided talent and idea and deal flow to make it happen. So I saw incubators from the inside. As a matter of fact, one of the great moments in my past was being able to be part of Jamdat Mobile, and Jamdat came out of an incubator. Evidence, case in point, to multiple rounds of funding, an IPO, and ultimately acquisition by Electronic Arts. So we went from 0 to 60 and acquisition from end to end, as they say. So let's go take a look at it. This is the United States. This is an RB Musa. And what an RB Musa is, really bad map of the USA. That is an RB Musa. And in this RB Musa, we have here some of the more famous incubators, like Y Combinator, that's out there in Silicon Valley. Sam Altman is the name you usually see with that. It was actually founded some years ago by a guy named Paul Graham. And then right next to it, not far away, is 500 Startups. It's another incubator. Their claim to fame is they say that they've done 1,800 companies in over 60 countries and 3,000 entrepreneurs, so big arms and a lot of success from 500 Startups. There's one down in Austin, Texas called the Capital Factory. And you know, down in Austin where they have South by Southwest, and every year you can go there and see a lot of startups down there, there's what's called the Innovation Zone, and that's where Capital Factory is located, right down there. Up in Denver, there's a thing called Techstars, up in, I believe it's Boulder, Colorado. And they have been very successful in that zone. And then there's some other ones that are around, one called Tech Wildcatters here in Dallas, where we are. Let's see, they're run by Gabriella Davey. I think it is Gabriella Davey that runs it here. They've been successful down in downtown Dallas and going there. And then out Philadelphia, New York, Dream It is there. So, and this is just the United States, and this is just a few of them. They're out there. So research the ones that are in your town, and then what process do you follow so that your startup or your concept or idea could take advantage, maybe get accepted into it? Well, it's a simple little process, and it goes like this. Pitch, get, hit, get, graduate. So let's go from the top. Pitch and join. You do your research and you look at when they have pitch days. And they usually have times on the calendar where people put in their nominations, tell about what you are, and there's usually a standard format to use, and you can go research that so you can put it together. And again, you can find incubators where you don't have to be in the same city as the incubator to be considered. But nonetheless, there's usually a very specific process and a very specific calendar. Go search it out. Take a look. They're out there, and even if you're in Manila, the Philippines, dying to have your startup and your concept heard, somebody will hear it, and you will have an opportunity to pitch and to get into a program somewhere. Then get and give. What is the get? You will get mentorship from all the executives that are there, and then there's usually a large tribe of advisors that are there at the incubator that are on staff to help you, that volunteer their time or make a very small stipend from the incubator, from the accelerator, and they're there to give you their expertise and advice as you go along. What you're going to give for this is usually around 7 or 8%. You'll give 7 to 8% equity. Y Combinator takes 7%, Tech Wildcatters takes 8%, I think it is, but it's all very, very similar. And you'll be expected to get probably around 20 grand, 30 grand that they'll give to you more or less like an allowance to work toward hitting a milestone. And as you hit these milestones, which could be a developmental milestone, a set of people that have adopted it on the internet, first customers, things like that, there'll be a set of milestones that measures your progress against this. So, hey kid, we're going to give you $30,000 for 8%, and you have to hit these milestones. And when you do, we'll give you a little bit more. Many of these things are two-staged. I've seen some of them where it's your first amount is like $25,000, $30,000, and this one can be as much as $100,000. Once you prove that you've hit the milestone, and the feedback from all those mentors is, hey, they're following directions, they're learning every day, and they got traction with this, I think it's good and it's gonna go. So then you get more money. And then finally, you graduate. Y Combinator is very, very famous for this in that their graduation day is called Demo Day. And Demo Day is where you've got some VCs in the audience, as the story goes, and those VCs are evaluating it to maybe get your first round of funding with it. So that is how the typical process works. So how do you make the decision of which one to go with? Well, basically, each one of these has a lens, and there's a lot of them that have a lens on technology, but there are incubators out there that have lenses that are not exclusively technology, and you don't have to exclusively be on site. So do your research and say, okay, who's near me? Who's nearby? Now, let me give a word of advice and a word of warning. This is not like finding local angels that say, well, you know, I do like this, and I'll give you $50,000 for 20%, and I'll help you out, and we'll incubate this together. That is not incubation. That is an angel investor, and that's an angel investor, you know, taking a pretty good chunk for the money. So be sure that just because it says incubator or accelerator, that you do your research and you find out, am I really going to get, you know, the kind of mentorship from multiple and diverse people that maybe understand my space? Are there other companies doing what I do? And then, you know, you got to run through the process here to join. Tech Wildcatters here in Dallas, they call it the gauntlet. You have to run through the gauntlet program to reach different milestones to receive certain levels of funding and support. So do your research, but don't be shy about the fact that you may be in Romania, you may be in Yerevan, Armenia, you may be some far off place where you're trying to get access to an incubator, an accelerator, and there's not something local. So be unafraid, be unabashed, but practice, practice, practice. Second point with the research and finding the fit is go do your pitch over and over again and watch as many pitch videos as you can. It's not about acting, it's about an effective pitch of 10 minutes with 5 minutes for questions. People will tell you longer, but I have been there, I have watched these pitches. If you can't make me a compelling pitch that says you understand the market, you have a product for the need in that market, you've got a good group of people together, and you have a plan for that first customer, if you can't give me those 4 things, then in 10 minutes, what are you doing? Go watch as many videos as you can so you can avail yourself to the experience of other people. And then look at the calendar, set up your plan to get there if you have to be in person to present, even if they'll let you incubate far away, and go do it. And you may be one of the fortunate people that ends up inside an incubator that receives the funding that gets you from 0 to 1, which is a great book by Peter Thiel that you should read as part of this process, as you run your lean startup, which is a great book by Eric Ries, by the way, and then ultimately graduate with some funding and go out on your own. And that, my friends, is incubation and acceleration in a highly condensed format. And we need, speaking of incubating, we need to, you know, he's searching for the pillow, he's searching for the pillow. There we go. You know what, we may need to incubate a new producer. Anyhow, please subscribe to Valuetainment, the best channel on the internet for entrepreneurial content. And until next time, I'm Tom Ellsworth, and I hope I left you better than I found you.